What's going on, everybody? Ali Nadem coming to you guys with another project breakdown video. Replying to one of you guys' comments. One of you guys wanted me to cover Serenity, so let's just jump right into it. This is the FLP before I rendered stems to mix it down and to master it. So this is the project that I worked in. So let's just explain some of my workflow. So from the top to bottom on my playlist, I have everything kind of organized. I have my 808, I have my snare. Let's zoom in here, give you guys a better view. And from the top we have some automation, some channel pitch. We have the 808, snare drum. There's some snare layers which we'll talk about. The hats, some automation for the sidechain in Kickstart, and some other melodies, percussive elements. And as we work down, we have the kind of the hook melody. As we work down, effects and so forth. Not a huge project. I didn't spend a whole lot of time on this one, but everything just came together very well. Now, the beginning vocal that you hear just about here.
So I said creativity.
So that vocal, I took a YouTube clip and I did some EQing and processed it using my lo-fi technique. You can check my channel on how to make lo-fi vocals, how you can do it the same way, make it very grungy and sound very dirty and old-fashioned. Let's talk about the different layers. So let's isolate the 808. 808, we have some saturation, compression going on, and it's just making it really fat. Let's play the 808 just dry. So it doesn't become day and night different, but it just adds some more saturation to it. We did similar approaches, so my processing was not hugely different from other trap projects, at least on the 808 side. Let's listen to the snare. Okay, let's listen to it just dry. You see, I didn't like how it has that tail that ends very abruptly. So the reverb too is great to make a really nice tail, and I added some delay as well. Underneath, I created this layer called the pre-snare. So the pre-snare here is underneath, and it's just this little sample. So it's kind of like if you take one of your EDM samples, pre-snare, maybe layer it underneath, I'll add a lot of dimension, because now when we play the snare wet with the pre-snare, we have that pre-snare building tension and anticipation, snare hitting, and then we have that nice big tail. Now, I didn't add any swing to this project. That's what I've been doing lately on my newer trap song. This one had no swing. I don't think so. No, 0%. So everything was just quantized. I think the snare was literally quantized as well, but you guys can always try moving around your snare just slightly. It can create space for your kick drum. It can create space and depth for your percussion. So on top of just the processing and adding like a pre-snare, you can also fiddle around with the shifting. We do that a lot in EDM. A lot of producers do that. There was another reverse snare. So right here, kind of added a lot more dimension because we already have that going on, but then an added reverse snare to kind of end those the 8 bars that we have. So at the end of every 8 bars, we have that reverse snare. For the hats, I didn't do too much processing. Let's have a listen to the hats just dry. Okay, I added the delay just to create some space. I EQ'd out some of this, the low end, which there wasn't much. I wanted to add some brightness, every EQ is different, so you're gonna have to test out different EQs. I find that equality is great for adding a nice shine and nice air in that 4 or 5K range. H delay is something I've been dabbling around with lately. It is super powerful. You can create effects, you can create classic delays, you can create ping pong delays, you can have lo-fi, you know, low pass, you have EQ control all there. So fantastic delay plugin, zero latency, love it. The good old sausage. Here I'm actually not doing anything. It's really just acting as like a hard limiter, I guess. You know, it's not, it still adds character. So even if you have 0, 0, it still does add character. And we can see here minus 1.5 dB. So moving on, the percussion is not crazy. And if we show you the 808 starts at A sharp, lowest note of D, and so forth. If you guys want to know how I made this 808, there's another tutorial on my channel on how to make an 808 in massive, and that's literally the way that I made this 808 with some fine tweaks. But I made this, and there's a whole video on how to make it just using some sine square waves, just a lot of distortion, some some drive, the classic tube that we have there. I think it's classic tube or Teletubbies. It's a cringy show. So moving on, the 808, like I said, and we have some pitch. You can see here, I like riding the pitch up and down. Also even here. The reason why I have these curves is because, keep in mind, anything you do with software, there's always this latency. So if you did this, you know, it won't be smooth. That's why I have that curve. So I have that curve there for the pitch so that it doesn't interrupt the transient when it wants to hit back on that original A sharp note. We also have this cool layer. I called it Ice. I think it was just a preset that I heavily modified. It had a ton of effects. There's no logic for this effects. It was just screwing around. You know, I heavily low passed this. I was like, oh, this sounds cool. Let's see how it sounds without the effects. Okay, so it's that sound that you hear playing with the string. It's kind of like chords, if anything, you know. So let's add the effects and let's compare. So those effects make it very wishy-washy, very long, and kind of like more of like a flowing type of feel. And again, experiment, guys. This, I literally was just screwing around. I'm like, let me toss this on, let me move this up, let me try this preset. Try around stuff, because you never know. You never know. You can start with a preset and then you just follow this creative mentality and you're like, whoa, this sounds cool. The hook, I just used a preset, I believe, in Nexus, and we weren't doing much to it. Little high pass to create space for the kick, and at 20 kilohertz as well to kill the high end. We had the sound godizer on there, Camel Crusher, have a filter, we have a bit of compression going on. I did a video on Camel Crusher and sound godizer, so check those out. Fabfilter Saturn. So let's listen to this string. So the string is already really nice. All my plugins are doing are just gluing it, brightening it, saturating it. And then of course I pitched it up. So what goes on here with this preset, I have it play the first part. It plays this first part, and then I play the high pitch version, which is right here. And yeah, it just sounds seamless. It sounds like I'm playing the same instrument, but when you hear it, the reason why I did that instead of just pitching up the instrument, how I went from one instrument to the other, was because I wanted to retain the delay and make it like fade into another one. It's kind of like as if I'm going from a bass clarinet player to a clarinet player. Instead of taking the bass clarinet and pitching it up, we're kind of fading away. The bass clarinet player stops playing, clarinet player starts playing. And all I did for that was I cloned it, and I put the notes, the following notes. I did some automations, so keep that in mind. I did some automations, and that's why I have this. Because when the note would start, it didn't start how I liked, so I put in some filler notes and then introduced the volume through this. Okay, so cool stuff there. I made a lot of vocals using reverbs, so I'm gonna make some videos on this. Let me know if you guys want to see some videos. I'm gonna make some videos about creating large impacts, building effects, tonal effects. So I made most of these in Valhalla Vintage Verb, and you can make some very creative stuff. Let's have a listen. Okay. And then we have the reverse. It's just the same thing, just in reverse. Let's listen to that. And that's why we have the kickstart, because the kickstart is automating, I believe, just for the impact as it builds up. That adds more of an impact, like, okay, that's the new part of the track. That's the end of the 8 bars or 16 bars. A lot of other effects that are just very in the background. You can get them in the background by two things. You guys can not only adjust the volume knob, but when you adjust the volume knob to your liking, especially if you want to automate this, don't start with the volume knob. Start with the levels adjustment. That's what I did here. And just find it, you know, like Steve Duda said, a lot of times we go to EQ, Always go to EQ for a reason. Is there too much low end? Is there too much high end? Close your eyes, have a listen, because we sometimes just do things because we think it's routine, where we got to be using our ears and be trusting our ears over anything. Visually, you know, it might look good, but does it sound good? That's the most important thing. Levels adjustment is key, especially for effects. If you want to get them back in the mix, volume, EQing it, you know, high passing stuff. A lot of reverb also can help to put it back in the mix. We also have some subtle effects, chime. We have some atmospheric effects. And we also have this Saz, Egyptian Saz, which I love. It's some straight Russell Crowe gladiator action. The Saz is just so damn amazing, beautiful. I'm not doing much to this. I was just making it a bit wider. I did high pass it. You can see here in Pro Q. Bit of stereo enhancer. Here I think it was too wide, so I narrowed down the width of it. And then some Valhalla Ubermod to create a chorus effect. Valhalla Ubermod is a fantastic plugin that can create depth as a chorus, drive, reverb, width, and it's multi-purpose. So Valhalla Ubermod is fantastic. Been using it for a while. And let's have a listen to the Saz. So that's just in Spectrasonics Omnisphere. And we also have some other instruments that are more subtle, like the flute. The noise that I use here, it's playing some really cool notes. And this was just through trial and error. I was just trying this out. Have a listen to this. Very cool. If you guys want to make the same type of noise similar, I have a video on that, on how to make the noise in Synapse Audio Dune 2. So check this out. It's through automating the low pass, the release of the noise, but then also fine-tuning the size. Like Data Life said, it's all about the length of the notes. Sometimes that little micro adjustment can make or break what it is you're trying to achieve. So have a listen. And the panning that's going on that you hear is going on within Dune. It's doing this automatic panning, which is really cool. Creates a lot of space and can really elevate your mix when everything's added together. The big thing for me was the the string. I think that was what really gave it that shine, because without this, it really is not too great. The thing that really stood out for me was that this string sound had such cool panning, and with us, we love that. We love telling the ear, oh crap, now it's on the left, now it's on the right. Because even though we think, okay, well, what's the point? Maybe do I really need to pan stuff? Do I need to do automatic panning? It's about giving, it's kind of like ear candy. You're teasing the ear. Oh, now it's on the left, now it's on the right. And you're giving motion. You're giving a fluid motion. So that can really help. The choir that you hear here is also Omnisphere. Omnisphere has some great choirs, and it is playing this kind of break. So it's nothing crazy, and you can see on my mixer I have my percussion, I have the main components, Egyptian saz, the string, the ice, subtle pad. And then I have kind of more of the background stuff, the intro, the outro, the effects, that guy's voice in the beginning. You know, that's pretty much it. That's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? That's a wrap. But yeah, guys, it's pretty simple. I like to keep it simple with my trap projects. Not that we're not caring about the micro details. Like, the percussion was very important to me, sampling these and getting the snare to sound great, because the snare on its own was simple, but if you want to take it to the next level, adding those things like the pre-snare, the delays, the reverb, EQing it. So really go by your ear, and when in doubt, have something to reference to. So here it's 147 BPM. And we also, prior to this, you know, a lot of inspirations like the Underachievers. Metro Boomin, though, was huge inspiration towards this project. And Metro Boomin is someone that I really resonate with personally. So it's okay to reference your projects. When I do a reference, I usually go to the top of my project and I'll insert a slot here. Just call it reference or ref. And I'll put in something and listen to it every now and then. And that's a good habit if you want to compare it, in case maybe your headphones or your speakers that you're using you can't trust. Maybe they're, you know, maybe you're not in a very well treated room, which if that's the case, also I recommend a pair of headphones, whatever you want to use. But anyways, guys, just wanted to show you my inspirations, my methods, and how I approach this project, well, what I was using in the project. But it was fairly simple, and a lot of these, like the noise and the 808 and whatnot, I have tutorials on that can teach you on how to make those sounds. So let me know what you guys think. I'm going to be making more project tutorials, breakdowns of my other songs as well. I'm really stoked, guys, because in the future, near future, going to be redoing, not redoing, but a upgraded version of Electro Champion. So I'm going to say it now. That shit's going to happen. If you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like. If you guys didn't like it, let me know why, and drop a like. Leave a comment, stay subscribed, hit that notification bell. It's very important so that you get notified of my uploads. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take it easy. It's cold, but keep doing those cold gains, cold shower gains, Wim Hof. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.